Grand risings, all you beautiful beings of light out there. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. I am your host, Horace the Bush. So if this is your first time, we're just so delighted that you're here, especially joining us out there in our live audience as well. And we're just extremely grateful for this opportunity to touch you and so many other lives out there in live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you might be. We're just so happy you're with us. And we want to invite you, if you haven't already done so, to just sign up at our website, csocharlotte.org, and find out about all the wonderful happenings at CSL. And you can put in a prayer request and subscribe, because we add our recordings to our website each and every week. So let me tell you about this fun bunch. The Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte is a new thought community, believe it or not. We are living in ancient wisdom philosophy based on the science of mind. The science of mind philosophy was developed in the early 20th century by writer and lecturer Dr. Ernest Holmes. Dr. Holmes was a man on a serious mission. He studied truths from all of the world's religious traditions and spiritual paths. Holmes developed a fresh new way for us to look at ourselves and how we fit into this magnificent world of ours. At CSO Charlotte, every philosophy and religious tradition is honored, along with every race, sexual orientation, and physical distinction. We want you to know that this is a diverse community. There are many paths to the divine. We may call it God, peace, love, spirit, divine mind, infinite presence. It really doesn't matter what you call it. This is your power that resonates within you. You do not have to leave your philosophy or nature of knowledge. You can join us anytime. We recognize and refer to many of the Holy Scriptures, such as the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, and that's just to name a few. Our vision statement is to continue a spiritual community, creating and preparing a succession of future leaders who can fully integrate, teach, and expose this science of mind philosophy, its principles, messages, and practices that strengthen the mind, body, and spirit of individuals. One of our aims is to create a high collective consciousness for everyone in this community. We teach everyone the tools to do just that, because you're going to hear over and over again, we are a community that believes in practice and embodiment. I'm just saying. So come and join us as we meet each Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. For our consciousness meeting. You're going to hear more about that when we talk about opportunities. And so we want to welcome you. We want to welcome everyone here to enjoy our service as we celebrate this powerful being which lives within each and every one of us. So guess what? Before I hand this mic over to our wonderful, fabulous, and fearless leader, I want to leave you with this thought. Because our theme today, you're going to hear more about it, is about independent thinking, regardless of conditions. So I want to leave this with you. Most people believe most of the things they believe, only because they believe that most people believe them. I'm going to say that again. Most people believe most of the things they believe only because they believe that most people believe them. And that's by Mocha Sonoma. And I'm going to leave that thought with you and pass the mic over to our beloved, fabulous, fearless leader, Reverend Rosedale.
That is phenomenal, Horace. Most people believe it because they think most people believe it, not because of what they believe? Oh boy, we're going to take this thing to the circumstances today, because the name of this talk topic is Think Independently of, what was the word? Circumstances. Boy, Horace, you got me going on that one. So that was fabulous. So welcome everybody, all the YouTube listeners and the Facebook listeners or any other platform you see us on, because boy, oh boy, CSL Charlotte is on the rise, and you will see plenty much more of them of us on many of different platforms. Or you can just come see us in person, but that's a whole nother different topic. So anyway, welcome to CSL Charlotte. And the first thing we do is let you know what we are all about. Did you hear Horace say Mind, Body, Spirit Center? Well, we are the Mind, Body, Spirit Center. Maybe one day I'll explain why it's so imperative that we really see it as the mind, body, spirit. It's the wholeness for each person. So what we do at CSL Charlotte, Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte, is we open up with an affirmative prayer or an affirmative prayer. What's that? What's this at Rosedale? It's an affirmative prayer. And so when we open up with the affirmative prayer, we get a chance to just set in and get ourselves centered into it. So as we center ourselves into it today, let's allow our practitioner, Maureen Thurston, aka Mo, open us up and give us that wonderful prayer that's bursting through her seams right now.
Thank you, Reverend Rosedale. So as we turn within to that still quiet place where I know that Spirit resides in each and every one of us, I know that this service is blessed. I know that the message that Reverend Rosedale is bringing to us today resonates within all of us. For she is a carrier of light, and she comes always so much from the heart in everything that she does. So I know that as we all participate and bring our own consciousness into this service here today, I know that everything flows smoothly and easily. We hear what is ours to hear. We celebrate with each and every one that is on this platform with us here today. So I release this into that state of creativity, knowing that it has already taken root and manifesting within each and every one of our lives with ease and grace. And together we can affirm this by saying simply, and so it is.
And so it is. And also, big shout out to you, Horace DeBush. Thank you so much for that beautiful quote. I still haven't forgotten it. But remember what Mo said in that prayer, everybody. Bring our own consciousness to the table. What you got to bring to the table today is going to help you go a long way. Ooh, I'm a poet. I didn't even know. Isn't that something? So now, the second thing we have is we have our reader. And we have my favorite yoga instructor. And that's only because she's the only yoga instructor I go to. So at any rate, we have our reader who is Jariva Trailer, known as AKA JT. So JT is the person that she does a lot of beautiful readings anyway. So that takes me into, wait, I gotta hear her reading before I go to bed. You know, if I'm gonna do that. So I gotta hear her reading, and I just say, okay, some days it's like, oh, I wanna hear that again. But for the most part, she's got an arsenal when she's ready for it. And she just says, brains don't go on top, they go on tap. So I'm gonna find a great reading, and she always seems to do it. So after JT's reading, I want you to get to hear the idea that we are thinking independently of circumstances. That's the talk title. And at the same time, I invite you to hear this wonderful song called Skyscraper. Remember, metaphors are all about what music is about. It's about to inspire you. It's about making you feel the message that comes through. So it's not about you picking out words like, oh, that was negative, oh, that was positive. No. Do the metaphoric stance and you will live a long time very happy. But if you're so serious, you're going to have an issue with yourself, not with me. Anyway, guys, let's let JT do her reading. JT, bam.
Morning, everyone. Today's reading is from the Science of Mind magazine titled Guide for Spiritual Living. And it's a reading from Reverend Dr. Michelle Madrano, titled Conditions Are Not Cause. So it opens with 2 quotes. The first quote is from Dr. Wayne Dyer. You create your thoughts create your intentions, and your intentions create your reality. The second quote is from Ernest Holmes. Realize that behind everything that is seen is a silent cause. In your life, you are that cause. There is nothing but mind with the big M, and nothing moves except as mind with the big M moves it. In our lives of conditions, we are the cause, and nothing moves except as our mind moves it. So the reading. First, there is a thought, and then the condition. I think a lot of us know this in good. First, a thought, then something is created, and we have a chair, a computer, a business, a condition. First, there's a thought, and then there is health, money, career, relationship, a condition. Mm-hmm. This is true for each of us and also shows up in the thought atmosphere of groups such as families, friends, companies, crowds, countries. We can fall into the trap of blaming our conditions, thinking that if such and such condition just did not exist, everything would be so much better. Yet our consistent thoughts and intentions contribute to the outcomes in every part of life, not in just some parts. We can spend a lot of energy attempting to change a condition for the better, only to have it remain unchanged or changed, only temporarily. It can be very satisfying to do something and appear to change something. For example, many of us wish to change our body weight. We want to be healthier, thinner, heavier, or stronger. We can go on a plan of eating and exercise and attain that change. Yet without that corresponding change to our thoughts that create the body we have, we will likely return back to the original condition. When we start with our mind first, any changes we make in the world of form will be clear to us and have a greater chance of lasting. Beginning with my mind, I affirm and envision changes to the conditions I choose to change. And so it's
like a skyscraper. Can you just close your eyes or put your eyes into your lap or just relax your whole mind? And as you do that, think about, what if I were a skyscraper? I'd be so far from the ground that life can't tear me down. Did you hear what Demi Lovato was singing when she said, go on, try to tear me down? At the same time, I'll be rising from the ground. Do you know what she was really actually saying? She was talking to that you as life, conditions, circumstances. She said, yeah, you can rip me off, you can call me whatever you want to call me, but I'm going to be standing tall on my feet. Just remember those metaphoric words when she said she's coming up like a skyscraper. What about you amidst all of your circumstances and all of the things? Because as we start this service today, we're thinking to think independently of circumstances. If we start to think independently of the circumstances, we do things that we never expected, and then our behavior follows suit. And once our behavior follows, guess what else happens? Life changes. So we can get beyond those circumstances no matter what they are. So I love that pronoun. She kept saying you. Remember, metaphoric. So right now, get ready to start the day and think independently of circumstances. As you wiggle your fingers and your toes and just begin to bring yourself back into the service. And then what we'll do is we'll just look around our space or our room or whatever, and I'm still new at this place, so you look around the place like you're new. And whatever you didn't notice before, bring it all into your consciousness as you listen to find how you choose to think independently of circumstances. Great job. So that topic that we had, first of all, I want to thank you, Horace the Bush, for running this this community like a well-oiled machine. Everything is about a computer these days. For running this community like a well-oiled machine, I really thank you so much for that. And then that fabulous reading that JT read just fitted right in and brought think independently of circumstances right into the game. So I thank you so much for that, JT. And at the same time, I also want to say, Mo, that prayer just brought it in because it gave me the mood, the wherewithal, the motivation to start myself thinking independently of circumstances, whatever they may be. So for those of you who would like any type of prayer or anything whatsoever, or any type of healing, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. we have a consciousness meeting and we bring our consciousness together there. You'll hear more about that as well. So if you out there in the land realize that, just go to our website and you will hear that later on in the talk, in the service. So anyway, for that being said, I also want you to know a few things about thinking independently. You know what it is? Life can often just throw circumstances at us, and you know these circumstances that life throws in front of us, life could be spirit, God, or whatever. It could be even not so positive. But I like to use the positive things and say that's what it's throwing at me, because the reason why spirit throws things at me that it looks like it's daunting is because it's throwing it to me for me to grow up. It's throwing it to me to pull up my bootstraps. It's not throwing it to me to harm. Nothing, no circumstance, nothing has ever been put in front of us that was made for our harm. Let's get that out of the way, get it straight. I don't care what circumstance you face. I don't care what circumstance hits you in the face. But you know what? That's life. And the more we concern ourselves with life, the better we are. Because what happens is a lot of times these circumstances, they give us this feeling of powerlessness. And powerlessness doesn't work if you want to be on the successful side. Here we got the left side of us, which is the fear side. And then we got the right side of us, which is the love side. Now, if we can realize that the fear side's supposed to be with us as much as the love side, oh my God, all the circumstances are looked at differently. Because how do you think independent of circumstances is basically this? What you focus on grows. And whatever grows, you can change it. You are totally at choice, no matter what the circumstances could be. Think independently of circumstances. And the next thing you want to do is realize this here, because this is not something new. I'm not new with this. This has been since many centuries. Right now, there are studies that people constantly do. I was a part of a study of mine in 75 with my daughter, and they were doing a study on single parents, but there are billions of studies going on. So I just wanted to bring that up for a minute. So you're going to understand, I'm not just saying studies just to be saying it. You know, studies right now are suggesting that certain adverse thought patterns, you know what they do? They actually contribute to an unhealthy state if you're thinking on it as an adverse thing. But you can turn that adverse circumstance in your mind, because everything happens in the mind first. I've been telling people that all this week, my clients and various people, you gotta have it here. Before this dress was made, it was in the mind of someone. Before each chair, each table, anything that was made was in somebody's mind first. So here's the deal. Think independently of circumstances, and you got it. You got the game. I want to tell you a little bit more about why it's so imperative that we have this mind, body, spirit connection. Guys, I remember years ago, I want to say in the early 2000s, when I started coming upon this teaching. And I started saying to myself, this is powerful, because I was always believing. There was always me knowing that there's something outside of me. And I mean, at the time it was something outside of me, but I would always pray and I would always get it. But it didn't matter, because I only knew what I knew. So those circumstances got out of my way then, because I knew what I knew then, but I was earnest. And one of the earnest things you got to be about is looking outside of that circumstance. I saw something different than what other people saw, and they thought, my God, girl, you better stop moving so fast. I saw something different. I saw a different future for myself. So if you're looking for it, you find it, as they say. So there's studies that show when you have adverse feelings and adverse thoughts and always worry and always giving stories to people about what this is wrong and that is wrong, guess what your life is about? Wrong. You don't want that. You don't want it. There's no way that you want that, because you would not be trying to hear these different new thought things. You wouldn't even be trying to be a part of it. And this isn't new thought. This is really ancient wisdom. When you look outside of your circumstances, all they're doing is saying, change the way you look at things. And the things you look at change. That's all they're telling you. And that's all I'm telling you, actually, because it's my title. Okay, guys, all right, let me get real. But I sometimes have to just do that. So just remember, while we are having these thoughts, we want to remember that they're going to go on 24/7, whether we like it or not, because that is what the mind does. And mind, body, and spirit has to be taken care of. And so I also remember when I decided that I was going to be I knew Melissa back then, but I wasn't planning on being a minister. I was just doing my practitioner work there and doing clients, because Christian was big on telling us that you should be doing this. He was always pushing us to the next level. He said there is no right, wrong, or indifference or whatever. But here's one of the things I remember. I was a very good practitioner, as I had a nice thriving business back then, but I also remember that I had these wonderful ideas of how a spiritual community should be. And because I was a spiritual I call it myself a spiritual fitness and nutrition coach, I was that for years. I was already doing that. However, that I said, you know what, when I get my spiritual, I didn't think about a community yet. It was Melissa and I who came up with that idea. I didn't even, But anyway, before that, I just went to ministerial school, but I always went to ministerial school and said, this ain't what I want. No matter what the circumstances were, no matter what people were teaching me, except for Christian, because Christian was out there. He had all kinds of people in his community. We had anything, we had AA people, we had NA, and alcohol and I said that. We had the NA, what's the other thing, the drug thing. We had all kinds of stuff running through CSL. Center for Seaside, right? We had all kinds of things, but that really gave me perspective of what it is. And then I began saying, yeah, but you know what? We're going to have to, if I'm going to be a part of any community, it's going to have to be mind, body, and spirit connection. And you cannot delineate one from the other. It is a stream connection. I say that to everybody at the end of my yoga class. I always say, you know what? Every time we come to the mat, we are coming to unite, to bring together that mind, body, and spirit. And at the end, we are coming back in our physical bodies, and we're just going to bring ourselves back. We're going to do that. We have to spend that time into the spirit realm, away from the physical realm. And that's how we move past these circumstances. And then you guys see me not trying to move too much, but you know how that works. We have, in order for us to see beyond our circumstances, we so know that we have to enter that spirit realm, period, dot. You can fight it if you want to. You can say, oh, I can't meditate because I can't sit still. Yeah, okay. You telling me you can't sit still? Okay, then you can't have that then, because you're not going to be able to hear what's coming through, because they're telling you 24/7, that little box is going. You know what you should be doing today? Oh, you know what, you left the pot on. Oh, you know what, you didn't lock your door. Oh, you know what, this is 24/7. You really want to hear it? Then stop and zip it. Or stop and just don't be having your hands busy, having your mind busy. Keep that mind open. Because when you open that mind, your body follows. When you open that mind, you heard what JT's reading said. First there's a thought, then there's an action, then there's a behavior. Ooh, that's what she said in so many words. But just let me break this down. The reason I'm saying that is because everything comes in the mind. There's a thought. And my thoughts are scaring the crap out of me some days. I'm serious. I would wake up in the morning and I would say, all right, so now it's time for you to go live. You got to go out there. You got to go in person. Oh, but I can't. You know what? Let me try that. See, here's the thing. There's a thing in the Bible that says this. Once you know that what the power is all about, you can't back up and say, okay, I'm just kidding. No. What I do is not for, what's that word? What at heart? The weak at heart. It ain't working. It ain't for you. And I'm not. I can't apologize for that because I'm so happy that I follow that motto, theory, whatever it is to me. I'll take it as an affirmation. But what I do is certainly not for the weak at heart, baby. Because if you think that you can say, okay, I'll do it, and then tomorrow it starts to get tough, like sometimes our technology goes, sometimes I don't understand certain things, or sometimes I have to relearn something, guess what? If it is to be, it's up to me. It is. And I that's what makes me laugh so much because of from whence I've come. And Groovy G tickled me this morning when she said, guess what? I woke up this morning and had all kinds of positive thoughts that I brought in. But let me tell you something about that. My people, my platform, you know what I do? I don't see them as the things they're complaining about or they say whatever, because it's okay, because I complain to them too. I don't even see me as my complaints. But when they complain about things, I'm hearing them, but I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing, yeah, I see you. And I see you rising up like a skyscraper, baby girl. Because you saying that, baby, when she said that, you know what she's saying? She's saying, I'm on that next level, baby. I'm in the elevator. And I'm taking that next level because I got up this morning. I told you I was going to use the UVG. You know, she said, I got up this morning and said a whole bunch of positive things. Because you see, I say it every single, we've been together for years now, 3 years, right? And all I do is just tell everybody what I do. I know it sounds like a lot, and I know some of it sounds far-fetched, but if you see or feel and understand the wonderful life I live, I'm serious. You would say, all right, I'm going to do what she says. I want what she's drinking. I love that. And then when you start to do that, you begin to think outside the circumstances, because when you start saying those positive things in your mind, you begin to tell yourself that, holy mackerel. Oh, you know what? I'm doing that thing as Psych does. You know, I'm sitting here thinking about Psych. See, that's why you can't watch so much negative stuff on TV. Because you'll be doing it. But I like that because it's funny. Right? So anyway, I love the fact that how the reading that JT did kind of solidified what I was saying. She said something to the fact that we fall into a trap of blaming ourselves for circumstances. Well, you know what? No, blaming the circumstances. If this wasn't happening or that wasn't happening, I'd be much better. But let me just tell you this. If you keep doing that, you'll never be better. You'll be saying this, you'll be looking at the same thing. Why? Because when you focus on growth. So you're going to be focused on, oh, I know why that's not happening for me, because I didn't, because I did, or because you did. Oh, no, I know why that's not happening, because I won't sit my butt down and get into my spirit realm. There is a spirit realm that's around us 24/7 too. But what you can't see does not mean it's not there. You know, the Bible also says, believe in the unseen. And also says, when you become of a new mind, you have to become of a new mind. All that stuff in the Bible is metaphoric, but boy, let me tell you something. You got to know what new mind means. That's why coming to a spiritual community like this, you get to hear the action actual meaning. And then when you hear the actual meaning of all that stuff you believe, then you understand why the Bible is so great. And it really is a great book. So is some of the stuff that was written by our big old time ancestors and philosophers back in 3-something BC, before time, before Common Era. All of that stuff is not by accident. It is for us to wake up and hear their quotes. And when you hear that quote, you hear that quote, you say to yourself, that didn't go over my head, that was meant for me. Remember, first there's a thought, got to come from the mind. Then there's a plan, if you will, a plan of action. And then after you put that plan into action, after you put that plan into the play, you got to put it into action. So if you're going to sit there and say, I want a business, and you do, and that was me at one time. I said, yeah, I want to. But if I was like trying to find excuses why I can't make my fabulous business change from over to in California to here, to do the things I'm doing here, I had to get out on mornings and go to a network. I still do. I get out on mornings, go to networking places. I get out and I tell people what I do. I listen to what other people do. I become friends with them. When I'm aligned with those people that are in the same as me. You know what I mean? Or that I feel aligned with. Then as I become, the more aligned I become with the people, the places, and the things, circumstances like this, the computer may be going off. Circumstances like I don't have a good place to be in. Circumstances like when we first started out, when we came into another place that didn't have, well, I'm not gonna say any names, but we that didn't have parking for our guests. We had an issue with that. But guess what Rosedale did? She looked outside and thought independently of the circumstances. Well, we got to move on. And I didn't know where I was going, but I know one thing. I knew that when I get up in the first thing in the morning and Spirit says, do this, I go do it. Now, some of the things Spirit say, well, go do this. I said, I really don't feel like it. So then I have to really talk myself into it. If you think that I'm always going, no, I'm not gonna do it. No, some of that stuff sounds real far-fetched, but baby, when I get to the point where everything is just adding together, there's nothing you could tell me. You can never get me to understand that life is not for me. And I remember so many people say that over and over. They say, well, life is not good. And then I'm like, okay, I got to see my way. No, it's ABC. I'm about to see my way out of this conversation, because that conversation is not going to stay with me. That conversation does not sit too well with me. So yeah, in hindsight, I used to think that life was some kind of way. And that was only in my teens. But for some reason, I heard it because I think of my grandmother. I think she's the one that showed me how to pray. And she showed me the traditional way to pray. But I'm going to tell you something about prayer and about spiritual practice and about everything you do. Don't think that your type of prayers is the only type of prayers that get seen, heard, and done. One and done. No. Don't think that your practice or your philosophy is the only thing that's right. No. That is so different. That's why here in CSL Charlotte, we are about all respect for the way people think. We are about respect for the way you eat, if you're interested in that, because that's another thing. When you know your body and you know your mind and you know that spirit is within you, you have the connection. Now the next step is to listen so that you can see outside, directly outside of your circumstances. And that's what we want to do. So just realize this. There's a strong mindset behind doing spiritual practices. And what I believe for me is that strong mindset that I use and have been using and I had to build myself up for, that was my successful career that I have right now. My relationships, I have some bar-known, tip-top, awesome relationships with people because that's what I wanted. Also, financial abundance, that's another thing I have. As long as I have it, I can only get more. And if you keep saying, well, I'm almost there, then you will always be almost there. Stop it, right? Personal growth. My personal growth is important. And another thing I learned about me, what I love is my creativity and my innovation practices. Man, the things I've learned and done in the last year is, I'm proud of me. And you need to be proud of you. But here is the biggest thing I'm proud of me, is for my ability to take fear by the hand and take it everywhere I go. Because fear is my motivator, baby. The minute I hear something I'm supposed to do by spirit and I decide that no, we're not going to do it, well, the fear is you're going to fail if you don't. Okay, listen. Okay? It's like not happening. So just think. Now, just know this. I now think independently of all circumstances. So you can throw it at me and say, oh, this is not going to work. That didn't happen. I'm saying, okay, I got you. But if it's something I'm going to do, you're not going to stop me. You're not going to make me think no small. I'm not going to go that small talk. I'm not going to go down that road with anybody. So think of it, all of these things, as an investment in you looking outside of circumstances. And I want you to go ahead and think about this. Let's just say you are no, Zen zoning is something that we do at our consciousness meetings on Tuesday night. I don't know, I didn't never say the topic of it, but it's something that I know we need to do, and I know it's right to do. But anyway, what happens is it's amazing, and we can see outside of our physical circumstances, and that's why a lot of people heal when they come to us or give us such great raves about, oh, guess what just happened? And all we do is take 15 to 20 minutes, and you can do that on your own as well. But just think about this, because I'm about to introduce that next song. Let's just see that picture yourself in a Zen zone, right? And you're in that Zen zone, and you're hearing things like, don't stop believing. Okay, like you're hearing a song pop up into your head. That's a good sign, because that's your rock star inside of you that's dancing. And so today, I want you to recognize that what you do is all kinds of things is going to happen. People are going to come after you with a thrill and drop you and pick you up and put you down. But you got to remember, don't stop believing. Get into that Zen zone so you can start to understand. And at this time, let's get to that next song, Don't Stop Believing by Journey. So now I want to tell you this. You heard this part in the song. I love it. They said, some will win, some will lose, and some will only sing the blues, but not us. We're going to keep moving. Okay, technology, we got your number today. Alan knew every word that he wanted to say without even looking at the screen. We have gotten so good at that, because that's what we keep talking about. We said we don't want to read it, and I saw him, and what's so beautiful about it, again, circumstances, he kept going into his vision, and every time Alan wants to say something, he closes his eyes because he's going inside to look and see what's coming up. I love it. That's what we talk about all the time. We say, no, it starts here, baby. Look, you remember what it says when you don't see it. When you see it every Sunday, you know what it says. Just say it. He's awesome, y'all. Y'all got to give it to him, everybody. Give him a hand, because he did it without that screen. Y'all don't know what was going on over here, but it's all good. You don't need to know now. So with that says, let's come on back a little bit. Let's bring it down. Okay. So the first thing we do right about here is we talk about people's birthdays. And you know, I'm really serious about this. If we don't acknowledge or honor ourselves, then what good are we? It's not about us honoring everybody else. Some people like to give everybody a birthday gift, but they don't want the light to shine on them. But listen, all you got to do is allow someone to show you or someone to acknowledge you, and that's the best feeling you're going to get in the world, man. And once you start understanding that you need to be acknowledged and to acknowledge you, it's all good. So I said all that to say is I don't know your birthday, but you do. So if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us here on Zoom, you can chat, you can put your birthday, your month, and your year. No, not your year. Your month and your day. I don't want to know your year. It's not important, because age is just a number, right? So when you do that, you will find out that We honor you. And let me tell you something, if you're not here and we do that, you're gonna know. Just like Susan Perry knows that I'm thinking of her. She shows up every single week. And there's sometimes I may not think about her, but then when I do, I always see her. But I thought I would see her on Zoom today, but she's here in person. So I'm telling you, the thing is, you know when is your birthday. I'm not gonna get off that for a second. So tell us, okay? We wanna acknowledge it. So now, with all that being said, I just wanna right now get back to my team. My goodness. This is the most powerful team I've ever worked with, I've ever been on in my entire life. And I've been on a bunch of teams, you know, all kinds of jobs, all kinds of different communities where I served and all of that. But this team right here, you hit that ball, one person hit that ball and they go strike, somebody behind it to catch that ball and throw it right back in the game. This is the team here, boy, let me tell you. So I just want to say again, Alan, those announcements were sweat. You knocked them out of the park without even remembering them. So you got to know that I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful to be having you, somebody to talk to and chit chat with and be honest with each other. That's the deal. So now, that's what we want to do. We want to do that and be very grateful. The next person is, you know, the people in the back, you never see or hear anything about much of, but let me tell you something, they working, they rocking this thing. We got Timmy P, he probably was sitting there going, okay, we gotta figure out what I can do from here, because we gotta fix them, because he knew what was going on, he knew something was up, so that's why you gotta know, this team is on the ball. And then we got Groovy. If somebody comes in with all that noise or whatever, she's gonna make sure it's zap it. She says, oh, we gotta thank her, we gotta be grateful. And she's always the one who gets in here first to make sure that we can be heard and seen. Get your lipstick on, she's the one. Then we got Melissa, she's our fabulous spotlighter. And she makes sure that you can see us well, especially you people looking at us on YouTube. You guys, yes, you, and all of that wonderful stuff. So we got a fabulous team. Now we also have the people that were up front. We had Mo. She gave us our fabulous opening prayer, and she's going to close us out eventually today, not long, in the very soon future. And then she's going to do a wonderful job on that. Then we had the reader. And you heard the reader, and you heard the talk, and you've seen how it just came alive, both matched. Wonderful stuff. So that's why, and I don't think I'm missing anybody, because I better not be, I'm telling you right now. And then I thank myself for being everything I wanted to always be, to be in here. How about that? I never thanked myself. I forgot. This talk made me remember to thank myself. Okay, so that all being said, we are moving on. Now, remember this here. When you do prayer work, spiritual practices, or anything to that nature, you are doing yourself a world of good. So if you sit down and you allow someone to hold your highest good for you while they're helping you, know this. Every time somebody is doing one of the practices I might send them to do, or maybe doing the prayer work or whatever have you, while they're reading the stuff back to me that they read, if I had them do it, it was a client and they did the day of their life and they read to me, you know what I'm doing? I'm hearing what they want, and I'm hearing them, and I'm seeing exactly what they want. I'm letting them borrow my mind, because I know that powerful spirit is working in theirs when they say those words. So you know what? When you tell someone I want prayer because X, Y, and Z, it takes you 1 second to say that. And then after you finish saying that, you got this prayer coming up. Within 3 minutes, you have a prayer done and said, but you just got to know what I want more of, or what I want to get past, and what do I want to see. So guys, this live prayer is big, is powerful, and all communities do them. And you're going to see, when you start coming here in person, you're going to see that's going to be done here. You're going to see it always done here at CSL Charlotte. So just get ready, because that's where we're headed. So that all is, I think that's Important. Stay for the last 3 minutes. And oh, wait a minute, one more thing. If you have not received a prayer from us or in your email box, you did not put in a prayer request. Put it in. Because when Mo writes it, I read it. When I read it, I see it. I don't set anything right. I see it right. And that's all I do is see what you're saying that you want. And I just see you getting it. So with that being said, know that it's a done deal when you pray or when you ask someone to pray for you here. So that all said, remember this, that empowering song is something that you always got to know. But you have to know who is the master of your life for this last song, especially when it comes down to seeing outside of circumstances. So when you see independently of circumstances, or when you think independently, seeing and thinking is all the same. So when you get to do that and you begin to look at yourself and see that this is so not me, I want you to know who you are. So this last song is going to tell you who you are, because this guy sings how when he was at a broken age and how everything seemed like it wasn't going to work, but he's saying that pain, you call it a negative thing, pain made him a believer. So you have to understand everything we got on the fear side and the love side is all ours, and we have to do something with it so we can let pain be our believer, make us a believer. So listen to this last song as we go out with it. Yes, you build me up. You break me down. You build me up, believer. First thing first, just imagine that you are the one who's the master of your sea. You know who the master of your sea is? You, right? So let's just make sure we can remember that this week when things start coming on and they feel like they kind of hurt. You know how, don't say people hurt your feelings anymore, because that's just the pain you need sometimes. Sometimes you think that it's against you. No, it never was meant to hurt you. It was only meant to wake you up. So stay woke. So anyway, Mo, go ahead and pray us out, darling.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Rosedale, for your wonderful words of wisdom this morning. I know that each and every one of us, as we go into our Sunday, are filled with the light and the love of Spirit, that everything that we touch with our hearts, with our minds, and with our intentions of well-beingness. So as we go into the rest of this day and into this week that will unfold, I know that our lives are blessed. I know that each and every one of us experience that oneness with Spirit at heart. And it is all done with ease and grace. And together we affirm this and lock it in by saying, and so it is.
And so it is. All right. So it's time for us to say, I do. So remember this, remember that pain is our love, our life, and our drive. Remember that fear is all of that when you think about it this week. Remember that pain goes under the fear category, and that's part of our lives. It's not something that we can separate from. And I really think that should be thought about, especially when you're thinking about whatever you're facing this week or whatever you face right after the service. Know that it's making you a believer, and you're going to have to use that pain to motivate you, to let it be your drive. So that all being said, I'm going to say adieu, kind friends, adieu. I can no longer stay with you. I don't know where I get that song from. But anyway, everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.